Hello. Hello, my people. Hello, Spirit. Hello, Melody. Hello, Q. On the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again. I can't wait to get on the road again. Good morning, Holly. So I had to wait to go on. I'm stuck in Miami-bound traffic. And if you know anything about driving to or around or in Miami, it is not nice. Hey, Darla. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. So the beach report is back on the road. And I'm going all the way down to the end of my country. And I'm going to take you with me. Let's head down to Key West, Florida. Woohoo! It's so wonderful for me to be back at the beach. Just seems to make everything better. I'll turn the camera around so you can see the crazy Miami traffic. So last night, hurricane, or shall I say tropical storm Imelda went through, and it definitely felt like hurricane weather. Those of you who live in Florida on the coast, on the East Coast, I'm sure you all got slapped with the bands of Imelda. Good morning, Ricardo. Southwest Airlines, so I don't fly anymore. I like to drive. That's right, Paul. Paul knows. Oh, did the block party start? Hello, good morning, everyone. Hello, Princess Laura. Oh, Holly, you know, there's nothing more noble than taking care of your loved ones in their last years. I give you all the credit in the world, and I have done it myself. Yes, God took that storm out to sea. I know, nothing like it. Very interesting how everything seems to be happening in our favor for once. We've been through a lot here in Florida. Speaking of hurricanes, and I'm going to put my sunglasses back on. So today marks the 3rd anniversary of Hurricane Ian. Kimmy's in the house. Hey, Kimmy. Oh, and we have to talk to Kimmy. Thank you. I'm glad to see you. So I understand that actually we got to switch now that Kimmy's here, and talk about the horrible, unspeakable, violent acts of evil that just happened in Michigan. And Kimmy, are you LDS? Hello, Jose. You know, if there's any way I could bring you on, I would love to interview you. Is that a possibility, Kimmy? Okay. Oh, you're not LDS. But you live near there or something like that. You have perspective. Okay. Well, you want to do an interview later? Would you like to be interviewed on the Beach Report? I love doing interviews. I don't do them nearly often enough. Good morning, everybody. So we are currently driving outside of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, my home. I've lived in Fort Lauderdale for the past 10 years. Well, not always in Fort Lauderdale, though. I always seem to have adventures all over Florida, but Fort Lauderdale is the home of my heart and where I first moved when I fled to Florida back in 2015, believing that Florida would be the best place I could ever go. And guess what? I was right. I love living in Florida. Hey, is that Fred? Hi, Fred. Hi, Rama. Oh, wait, somebody's on a timeout. So those of you who are new to the Beach Report, you need to realize that I have a great many moderators on this channel looking out for not just me, but all of us. I and the rest of the moderators, and I think most of you would agree, that there is enough negativity in the world. And if you're going to come on my show, The Beach Report, which I've been doing for the past 10 years, you need to be respectful to me, to my followers, to my president. If I have a guest on, you need to be respectful to them as well. I like Deerfield Beach too, Fred. And if you can't be respectful, if it is just too much for you and you've just got to blurt out something completely inappropriate or, you know, guaranteed to be hateful and nasty, well, you will be immediately kicked out by a moderator. So why not just watch if you can't hold yourself back. You need to learn to control yourself. People need to learn to control themselves these days. I agree, Pat. Trump is the best. Best president in my lifetime, I'm just gonna say. Okay, traffic is picked up. We are heading south, going towards Key West, where there will be no hurricane at all. No, not even feeder bands by the time I get there. Key West should be absolutely beautiful because you never ever have such great weather as after a hurricane. It's like the pressure's down, it gets a little cooler out. It's always gorgeous. Bonefish, huh? Hi, Daniel. Welcome. All right, so I did want to discuss the fact that it is the 3rd anniversary of Hurricane Ian and also the 3rd of my husband Ray's death. He was already in hospice when the hurricane, kind of like it appeared out of nowhere, but hurricanes do that sometimes. Anyway, he was already in hospice, and it turned out that the hospice he was in was a hurricane shelter. And I believe that everything happens for a reason. Hey, broski. So right before we ended up in hospice, we had gone to the Florida Keys. My husband was raised in Cuba. He wasn't born there, but he was raised there. Going to the Florida, to Key West especially, because he felt the closest he could to Cuba. He never went back after he immigrated here in the early 80s. And he didn't really want to go back, but he liked to go to Key West because it feels like Cuba. Glad you're here, broski. Exactly. That's why we want to make America great again, right? You've been to Cuba several times, Daniel? Wow. Well, I've never been there, but I think I know what it's like, simply with being married to a Cuban. And he would always take me Cuban places, so it's almost like I was living in Cuba for a while there before he passed away. I do think that there's a spiritual revival right now. And more people are starting to come back to God and understanding that there is a creator and he loves you and you are made in his image and he sacrificed his only son for you. You know, everything happens for a reason, so never be sorry about anybody's life circumstances, especially those things in which you have no control over it. I only got to be with Ray in the physical form for like 5 years. We dated for a few years before we got married, and by the time we got married, he was already so sick. And he died of cancer. But the last trip that we took down to Key West, it was the beginning of the end. I realized that, but at the same time, I don't think I ever saw him so happy. He was with me. He was in the Keys. Am I back? Is it back? Let me know. I'll go out one more time. Okay, how's this? All right. Hello. Living on sponge cake, watching the sun bake. All the tourists are covered in oil. All right, good. I know this is going to happen. I have full bars now, though, so. And there's nothing to see here but Miami traffic, so. You might as well look at me. And I'll sing you a song if you want. Well, I'll sing you a song. After the driving, let me brush back the hair from your eyes. Trump's scheduled to speak around 11. Okay, let me see if I can turn my radio on. Let's see what happens there. Traffic a little slow again right now.
Someone, what was their collusion with the Biden White House and Fannie Willis's office? And I'm totally spitballing here. I have no idea.
Oh, by the way, James Comey. That guy, he's going downtown Judy Brown, as I like to say. Because don't forget, all of you who may support him, he wouldn't be where he is today, that is charged with, I believe, 2 indictments, if it weren't for a grand jury and lots of evidence. So, James Comey is a snake in the grass and a treasonous American who I think is drunk on power. I mean, look at how glib he is. Yeah, he was the highest echelon of our intelligence agencies. Should there ever be a person like this ever again? James Comey. Oh, the trolls. By the way, this is not a dating site, and I am not looking for a boyfriend. So, please refrain from treating me with anything but utmost respect as a woman, okay? And if you don't, my gang will get you. Yeah, I do. I have to wonder all the time about the people who treat a woman they don't even know like this. I wonder, how do you treat your mom? How do you treat your grandmother? You know, thank you, Jimmy. That's right. I'll take yes, ma'am. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm here to give you wisdom. I even will love you, but I will not love your bad behavior towards me. Okay? I don't deserve that. And no woman does. I mean, unless she's on your favorite OnlyFans channel, which I would never do, by the way. I don't sell my body. I have no need to, and it's a 60-year-old body, almost 60. So, nobody wants that. Most of all, I'm the one who doesn't want that. If a man hates his mom, it's time to back away from him. He will not respect you. Thank you, exactly, it's true. If a man hates himself, back away from him. He also will not respect you. Anybody who doesn't love themselves is a person to be concerned about. And if you don't love yourself, if you've got very low self-esteem, I suggest that you do something to turn that around. And you can quite easily do good things for other people. Stop thinking about yourself. That's right. Insecure men will put their insecurities on not just their partner, but everyone around them. And I've been with all of those men. So I speak from experience, and never, ever again will get involved with another man who is going to take me down. And unfortunately, the one man that I love the most and treated me with the utmost respect is not with us anymore. But I'm still married to him. I still love him. And he is still my husband. So he taught me not just how to respect myself, but how to make others respect me as a woman. And also red flags to look out for, ladies. For instance, here's something that Ray taught me that I never realized until Ray pointed it out. That is, if a man that you don't know acts very chummy towards you and puts his arm around you or touches you at all, you tell him to back the hell away. Because if you let him do that, and I know I might do that because you're trying to be nice, you're trying to be polite. And, you know, I'm often doing shows when I'm at a concert situation or something. And sometimes guys will come up to me and they'll put their arms around me and want to have a photo with me or something like that. So I really have to stop my inner sweetheart from saying, it's okay that you do that. It's not okay. It's never, ever okay for a stranger to touch you like that. Because if you let them, then the people around you might think that you're actually with this person. And then it gives that person license to maybe grab you and pull you out of there. So why are older women so bad with boundaries? What did they do to you as kids? It's not what they did to us as kids, David. It's what they did to us as young women. Women do get told that you have to let people, like even when you're a cute little girl and some old dude wants to give you a little kiss, in the family. Okay, here's a perfect example. Joe Biden often used his position of authority in the White House, especially when he was the vice president. And there is tons of graphic evidence of this, videos and whatnot, even pictures of Joe Biden abusing his power by taking family photos and always targeting the young girl, the little girls or even some of the pretty women, and putting his hands on them. And they felt uncomfortable with saying, "Get your mitts off of me," because he's the vice president. So that's what they do. That's a really great question, Henry Jr. I'm glad you know me so well and can call me ignorant. What have I said that's ignorant? Think about it, guys. And there's always these men that come on and they say things like this. Why? Because they're afraid of strong women. Weak men are afraid of strong women. And that's why there will be a dozen men come on this show and start calling me names and saying nasty things about me and saying I'm stupid. That is one way that men try to subjugate women, is to try to make them feel as if they are stupid. So the Red Chief, I do not hate men. I hate the behavior of some men. Men like you who automatically think that I hate you. I don't hate anybody. But if you treat me badly, I will no longer smile pretty and say, it's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay to bully women. It's not okay to body shame women. It is not okay to... There's a little traffic situation. It is not okay to be rude, And you will be timed out. You will be put in a corner because you're a bad boy. It's usually women don't talk like this. Women usually get jealous. But there is absolutely nothing to be jealous of me for, because I'm on your side. And we sisters, we do have to stick together, especially those of us who are widows. You want to be treated badly? When your husband dies, you get treated like crap. Every widow will tell you horrible stories of what happens when your husband dies. It's as if his family and all of his friends now think that everything that he owned, at least this is what happens in Cuban families, they think that everything that he owned, including your things that you owned, but they think it's all his, is now theirs. So that's another thing that happens. And these were men who treated me like this, like horrible. Men who my husband asked them to take care of me. You want to look for my journalism, Martin? Well, a lot of my stuff, it's been 10 years since I've written professionally for like the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and let's see, Human Resource Executive Magazine. I don't think any of those articles exist anymore, but I'm always doing journalism. I'll show you guys some of my articles, but the best thing at this point is my books. Now I am a book author and also a publisher. So if you really want to see my journalism, the best thing to do is to go to my website, jillbooks.com, and buy my book, Like It Was Yesterday, a journalist's file since 9/11. It's got a whole bunch of articles that I wrote for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and other magazines and such. A liberal paper. I know, right? Yes, I wrote for the liberal paper, but back in the 90s and the actually it was the 2000, I think it was 2001 when I started writing for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. And it didn't matter liberal or conservative, you know, it was the newspaper. And I was covering things like municipal and school district, and it was not about, you know, politics at all. And I never wrote about politics as a journalist. My first job was at the Sandpaper on Long Beach Island, New Jersey. And I would cover surf competitions. I would write articles about the local bands that were coming down to the shore and stuff like that. So, and sometimes, well, actually, the very first news story I did as a young journalist in 1987, it was the summer of 1987. I had just been hired for my very first job out of journalism school at the news magazine, the Sandpaper on Long Beach Island. And that year, hospital waste was washing up on the beaches. And it was a really big story. And I was right at the center of it. So there are some books, actually. I believe there is a book about that situation, and my articles are in there. So you can see some of my very first journalism, all the way back from 1987 with the Sandpaper. It was very interesting. I learned a lot about what is pumped into our oceans. And I have always had a big kind of an environmental bend with my journalism, especially after I married my husband, who, well, before I married him even. And I'll be talking about him a lot because it's been 3 years since he went to heaven. And he was such a special person that those of you who will never get to meet him now since he passed away, I want to introduce you to him. I'm writing a book about him, and I will also be reading you a little bit of that book too. So thank you guys. I'm really not looking at your comments right now because I'm driving. And those of you who are concerned, you know, it's as if you're in the seat next to me, even though it's Jesus is riding shotgun along with Ray. But it's like you're in the seat next to me. I am hands-free. My phone is on my dashboard. And the biggest danger at this point is that my phone will say, it's too hot, and you will lose me for a little while because of that. Because that's definitely something that can and will happen if I let it happen. So, yeah, I'm not a green screen. And I have to address that one too. So I realize that there is a new era now of people not trusting anything or anybody. And everything that you see may well be AI. Now, I can promise you with my heart that the Beach Report is a full-on reality show. And it's my life as a journalist. Also, as a travel writer. I've been a travel writer since 2006 when I did my very first travel excursion to St. Lucia. Oh my gosh. I will read you some of those articles and I will let you get to know me because my life is actually an open book. And I'm okay with it. I've had a very exciting life. I've done a lot of things. I've been a lot of people, if you will, kind of like I've had 9 lives. I've done everything from, you know, I mean, and we all have different times in our lives and different things that we do. But at one point, I literally was a Swiss housefrau. That's right, speaking Swiss German, living in Switzerland, and raising little babies. Yes, I did that. And then there was that time that I was a peacock farmer. Oh, that's right. Yes, I had a flock of peacocks that I cared for, along with a horse, and several chickens and roosters, and, oh, the ducks, yes. Oh, and the guinea hens. I had lots of guinea hens, too, and a few dogs, yes. I was a farmer. It's crazy, right? And then there was the time that I was a Fort Lauderdale socialite, hanging out with the glitterati. I was even part of the entourage of Muhammad Ali's ex-wife. True story, bro. And if you guys join my members group, I will read you some exclusive stuff about Muhammad Ali that will blow your mind. Oh yeah, it's really good. So join my members group because I'm going to delve into that stuff soon too. We've got lots of plans, lots of plans. Anyway, I am real and I want you to trust me because you can. Because if there is nobody else that you can trust, there is always me. And the reason you can trust me is because I have tremendous faith in the Lord. And that's also what this show is about. When you see me walking in complete and total faith. Everything I do is powered by God. I know it sounds crazy, but I do my journalism kind of as a ministry. So it might take you a little while to get to know me, get to know who I am, but most of the people that you see watching right now, well, I don't know about most of them, but at least 10 to 20% of them have been watching my show for the past 10 years. And I've never let them down. I never stopped doing it, even when Facebook banned me and didn't want me around anymore, lying about me. I'm still on Facebook, but I did start back onto YouTube, or I started onto YouTube just about a year ago because of Facebook banning me. So I guess I gotta thank Facebook because now I have a whole YouTube family and I love YouTube. I love it a lot more than Facebook, but I do still have to go on Facebook because I have my Facebook family over there too. So I'm juggling you both. Yes, I can talk about anything. I do also speak fluent. Okay, it used to be fluent, Swiss German and German. Okay, I don't know about fluent. Well enough to fool you into thinking I'm fluent. Let me put it that way. Have I been to, I don't even know where Bofa is. I've never heard of it. No, I'm guessing no. So, no, I do not live in my car. I live out of my car. There is a big difference. But even though I don't have a one home where I go to and live, I have several homes because I have so many people who love me so much, and I always have a home with them. And I do travel because of the Beach Report, because I do want to take you guys really cool places, and I like to show you different sides of life that you would never see otherwise. So that means I have to travel a lot. And for me to pay rent is kind of silly because I'm not usually there. So I might show up in Fort Lauderdale and my home there, which is with one of my dearest friends who I basically have lived with on and off for the past 10 years. So I always have a home with her, and I always have a home in Fort Myers with another friend who has actually started off as a follower, and many of my friends did start off as followers and have become my best friends. So this show means a lot to me. I would like you guys to check out Dennis, and I know I'm gonna 4 lanes. Not say his name right, but I think it's Schleider. He and I did a collaboration video, and I'm not sure how to get it onto my channel, but it is about making money on YouTube, which the two of us were commiserating how we actually, as creators on YouTube, we get very excited about just making like 35 cents on a video. It's so pathetic, but it is what it is. Neither one of us do this job for money. I don't do it for money, although I do need the money because, you know, it costs money to travel and to pay for gas. And even though I don't have to pay rent, I do have a lot of other expenses. And I am also a book publisher, so I sell my own books. I do not sell anybody else's anything. I do not advertise for anybody else. Sometimes I think about getting sponsors for things that I use and really love. For instance, there's this cream I use, and I can't even tell you what it's called. Something about bees. Anyway, it might be honeybee. I don't know. But it's made locally in Orlando by a company for skin problems, and I love it as a daily skin cream. So if anybody is interested in that, I was thinking of like going up there. I got to order some new and actually interviewing them. I love this stuff so much, but I don't advertise it, but I do want you to know about products that are great like that. And you can see I have really good skin, and I wouldn't say it's because of the honeybee stuff, but it doesn't hurt. It definitely doesn't hurt. And I did have like a situation here where I think I got a bug bite or something, and I picked it a little bit and it caused a little bit of a scar, but I've been using the honeybee stuff and it is fading very nicely. So anyway, you guys want to check the traffic and see what it looks like? It's pretty nondescript and ugly in Miami. Miami traffic is scary and hard to drive in, so I'm not going to do the show much longer. Plus, I want to have enough battery so that when we get down to the Keys, I can do the show down there. Yeah, vitamin E is good too. Also, I use a lot of castor oil. Anyway, those of you asking about my job, she doesn't have a job. She has a career. That's what I do. This is my career. And I absolutely love the Beach Report because it's like I have my own magazine, but it's live. That's pretty cool. I can talk about anything I want. I don't have any editors, just you guys and my mods. And it's kind of the best of both worlds. So if you like the Beach Report and you like watching my show, which a lot of people do, and I work very hard at it, I would ask you to please check out my website, which is a work in progress. Please don't judge me by the website. All I can do is to get my books on there to sell. And one book in particular I'd like to tell you about that's on my website is called Still Standing. And it's by a new author named Joshua Daniel Hayes. And he is unbelievable. His writing, if you are a reader, you might remember a book called Angela's Ashes. And then remember the book that J.D. Vance did, Hillbilly Elegy? Well, Joshua's book is kind of a cross between, it's like Angela's Ashes meets Hillbilly Elegy. Anyway, it's about child abuse and his life as an abused child and how he overcame that horrible start in life. And his book, he wrote it for people like him to kind of get themselves out of it like he did. But he also wrote it for people like me who could never imagine ever being abused like that. I was raised by an adopted family who loved me so very much. So I was a very lucky child, and I'm sure that Joshua wishes
in 10 miles, take exit 12 onto State Road 826 West and Florida's Turnpike.
There we go. So Joshua, I'm sure, wishes that he had been adopted by good people who would have loved him as much as my adopted family loved me. I was very lucky. All right, anyway, check that out. By the way, Josh's book, I did not charge him 1 penny for putting it together. He wrote the book. I edited it the littlest bit. I mean, it's so good. I barely had to touch it. It tells such a poignant story. And he's already written a second book, but I cannot publish that until we fund the first book. Or we fund the second book. Anyway, the way that I'm paying for Josh's book is every time I sell a copy to you guys, then I'm able to buy books for Josh. And then Josh can sell the books to support his family. So that's how we're doing that. That is my paying it forward project. I also have a great feeling about Josh that he is going to be a much sought after author and speaker. So I am basically investing in his future because I think he's amazing. So I have published his first book. So yay me. Anyway, I hope you'll check it out. It's a really good book, but it's a really important book too, that I think all kids who are going through a tough time need to read, especially the ones who are not abused. You know why I say that? Because kids who are not abused often will say they were abused. I know some kids like that. And and it sometimes takes a reality check to show people this is what actual abuse and neglect looks like. And it's pretty serious. Like when my kids were little, I would literally drive them through the slums of whatever town we were in. My kids grew up in Pittsburgh, and show them how people live, because sometimes they would say things like, I don't like our house or whatever, and I would say, well, this is how some people live. I think that it is always very important that you do show another side of life so people can understand that not everybody has it as good as you do, but at the same time you can always have it better. So we all have to work on ourselves. We are all works in progress. So the name of that book, Catherine, is Still Standing. And you can get it on my website only, jillbooks.com. It's not for sale anywhere else. Not yet, anyway. All of my books at this point are only available on my website, jillbooks.com. I'm the only seller of them. I do not like to sell myself cheaply to Amazon or anybody else. I find that when you work really hard on a book, I think you deserve all the profits. Just saying. So that's how I'm doing it. So I hope you'll go by and check out jillbooks.com. Order a book, and I will sign it for you. And even I'm thinking of doing some giveaways and prizes for people who buy my books, because, people love that. And I do have to make a living. And that's how I do it. I'm an author. I'm a writer. I sell what I write. If I write it, they will read it. I know that for a fact. All right, you guys, I'm also working on the second book of my new series. My first book called Do You Think About Me on My Birthday? And the sequel is in the works. And I now have friends of mine, very old friends of mine, who kind of told me that I have a new deal now where they have to read all of my books first as my editors, because I was just doing everything by myself. Oh gosh. Ooh, this guy just drove so close to me. He was in a horrible looking car. Oh, Miami. I have to get off the highway in Miami. I can't take it anymore. All right, you guys. I will see you guys on the next Beach Report. Stay tuned, because we're driving down to the Florida Keys, and I'll see you in Key West, where we'll be slipping on sponge cake, watching the sun bake, all of the tourists covered in oil. All right, you guys. Ciao for now.